Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'll give you a quick tour of my UK exotic garden in April. Let's get straight into it. April for me is still a work in progress month. A lot of people work towards August in terms of people who have opened their gardens for open days, but for me the best month of the year is June, when things are just on the cusp of being perfection. So I'll show you a little bit of the garden and where we are at the minute. It's definitely not a finished article, it's definitely still a work in progress. We'll have a look at the Gunnera. I have fertilised with chicken manure, but you can see there, this is the remnants of a late frost in March, but of course it has taken off in growth now, so I will continue to water this every few days, make sure the ground's wet. A little bit of advice for people who are just getting their Gunnera: if you're putting it in the ground, I would recommend digging in some sort of reservoir. I've got a few rubble sacks underneath in the ground that will hold the water longer than if it was just planted straight into the ground. My other Gunnera is in the barrel, so it's a lot easier to keep damp, and that has really grown significantly this year. When I bought it, it was in a small pot, maybe half the diameter of this, so it has doubled in diameter in a year. I see some flowers starting to form. These are both Gunnera tinctoria rather than manicata, even though they were both sold to me as manicata, so it's worth keeping an eye out. Bergenia cordifolia, elephant ears. I got all of these free from a neighbour. One of the brighter bits of colour I've got in the garden. Here's my barrel pond, a little bit of algae in there. We've got some mare's tail. All of this is watercress. I bought this from the supermarket, chopped up watercress, popped it in, and it rooted quickly, and it is taken over now. But what's the reason why I put this in is because its leaves are perfect for newts laying eggs, and I've got at least 10, if not more, newts somewhere in the garden. I have seen a newt last week, so I know they're around and breeding season is starting. So if you have got newts, or if you want to encourage newts, I would recommend watercress as a cheap plant that will benefit them, because obviously they lay their eggs on these leaves, fold it over, and I've got some good video of them doing that last year. Moving around, I've got a few big ferns that are looking dead. No signs of life on them yet. Of course, there's a lot of clearing up and weeding to do. I am on with that. Hostas are coming through. Yeah, so I'd make sure I'm going to keep these watered well this year. Euphorbia looking nice there. Purpurea, I think it is, in shade. Fatsias have taken a bit of damage. I mean, you can see there on the foliage there's the remains of a flower spike, but the new growth is appearing here, so they are looking okay in places. You can see there new growing points. What have we got down here? We've got the Euphorbia mellifera, the honey spurge. I bought this last year. It had 3 growing points. Lost one of them in the winter, but a lot more growth from the ground. I can see here, this is Persicaria red dragon. I've got a lot of this. This is so easy to propagate from cuttings. I've got about 10 of these from the initial one plant. A little bit of Rudbeckia and verbena. Rudbeckia, I've got that dotted around from initial one plant. Again, I collected seed, sowed that, but it takes a year or two to come into flower, so I'm hoping these will flower this year. But the verbena just goes crazy. If you've got a couple of plants in your garden, you will soon have hundreds. See back there that I've got the Cardoons. So I sowed these Cardoons from seed last year, so they should have some really good flowers on them. But I mean, I love the glaucous looking foliage on the Cardoons. I would recommend this if you're not growing this. Easy to grow from seed. There's the remnants of my yucca. I won't say which type of yucca it is because I'm not sure, but I lost the main growing point. I lost a few side shoots, and there's a couple. These two remaining side shoots both had spear pull, but don't look entirely dead, so I'll leave it and see what happens with that. We'll do the greenhouse a little bit later. Star aloe. Is it called star aloe? Lace aloe? One of the two. I got this free. This will be all planted in the arid bed later, but they're just offset so quickly that I'll have a constant supply. This is Chusquea gigantea. I bought this from Yorkshire Chris in his open day. Should be huge in a few years. This rosemary. I think rosemary is a bit of an unsung hero in an exotic garden. Not for everyone's taste. The flowers are a little bit cottage gardeny, but I bought this as I think my son got this as a tiny little plug plant for a little herb garden, and it has just gone crazy. I don't even water this. It thrives on neglect. You can see the big woody stem down there, and it is good at providing a little bit of cover for where the jungle stream emerges, which is down here. There's the jungle stream. It hides all the piping that goes under the bridge. Looking at this bed here, so you might have noticed I'm walking on paving stones that weren't there in the March video. I am planning out some paths. We've just replaced the rotten decking with a patio, and I will be putting some paths in, some curved paths. I'll be infilling with bound gravel and making it look nice. But the idea is I want to be able to walk around, over the bridge, round and back down again. So I'm going to extend this bed a little bit, but we've got the Euphorbia. Bees are enjoying that. Euphorbia, characias, wulfenii. My small trachea. Lots of self-seed of verbena that I'll probably split. And Rudbeckia. And we've got the little Chamaerops humilis there. This is the only one that didn't have spear pull. Looking well. Just hop over there. Well, yeah, if you're thinking of an alternative for bamboo, I can recommend a couple of grasses. This is Miscanthus giganteus, which is also called elephant grass or giant grass. And over there we've got the Arundodonx, which is the giant Spanish reed. Both fantastic grasses that will grow 6, 7, 8 feet plus. We'll talk about this one here. This is a Euphorbia shillingi. I saw Adam Frost on Gardener's World talking about this. I would highly recommend this if you can get hold of this. It is advertised as growing about 1.5 metres, but it definitely goes taller than that for me. Cut it back to the ground every winter, and I have managed to get a cut in that took ages to take, but it is possible. Yeah, fantastic Euphorbia if you can get hold of it. There's more Persicaria red dragon. That's my main plant that I've taken cuttings from. Some lupins on there. This is my cordyline that took some damage. You can see in the crown there. But we'll see how it goes. I'm not going to do anything to it yet. Musa bananas, Musa bastu. You already see the growth there, cut there, and it's growing. Growth points are all looking healthy, and there's signs of life. And I've got a few pups down there. I have mulched and fed that, give them a head start, but solid stems. Really pleased to keep the height on them. Okay, here's an interesting experiment that I'm trying. on my big trachea. I've got a lot of these cuttings of Monstera, and this one is standing out an aerial root, so I'm training it up the trachea stem. So let's see how that does. I've got so many of these that I don't mind it getting frosted in autumn, so a little bit of experiment. Anyone else growing Monstera outside, I'd like to know how it does for you. Now this bed is a work in progress. It will be extended. Now we've got the patio in. A lot of rubble on there, but I've got my double trunk trachea. That was a bargain. I've got my big formium that was free. More Cardoons there, and this is an interesting plant that I saw on Gardener's World last year. It is giant scabious. I think the Latin name is Cephalaria gigantea. It should be putting out some flowers this year. Sowed it from seed last year, so fingers crossed it will give a little bit of late summer height. Really tall white flowers. Looking across the garden at my 3 eucalyptus gunnei, I have taken the top growing point off each one to encourage a little bit of bushier growth further down the stem. Here's my red hot pokers. I did give them a harsh haircut a month or so ago, and they have taken off really well. I should really divide these, and they are a haven for snails. So I do need to keep an eye on snails, and slugs love hiding in here and coming out and eating things that I don't want them to eat. This is my one and only Tetrapanax that was in the ground over winter. I think it is totally dead above ground, but I've got my fingers crossed that I'll see some pups on that. Let me know in the comments if you think this will pup. It feels solid in the root system, but definitely dead on the trunk. Moving around into this work in progress bed. You can see there I've got some boulders, some rocks ready. This is going to be my arid or desert bed. It was originally going to be down there, but then when I had to think about it, this is the sunniest and most sheltered position, and I can raise it up and add better drainage. So the idea is going to be to raise it about 30 centimetres, take out everything that I want to save, such as this Skimmia japonica, Japanese Skimmia down here that's kind of overshadowed by the bamboo. I've got the Paulownia tomentosa that's just coming into bud now. You can see that'll be moved, and this Euphorbia ascot, I think it's called, will be moved, and then yeah, the rest of it will just be dug out and turned into a desert bed. I've got some of the plants ready to go in the greenhouse. I'll try and make it look as natural as possible with a bit of mixture of gravel and boulders and things. I think it will look really good. Here you can see the wisteria starting to flower. We were really lucky with this wisteria. It flowered in its 2nd year, and it continues to flower every year for us, so really happy with that. I'll show you the greenhouse. Yeah, so we're in the greenhouse now, and I have taken the bubble wrap off and preemptively put the shade cloth on. Doesn't really need it this time of year, but while I had the greenhouse empty and I was cleaning the glass, I thought it was worth putting it on there. I've still got the heater ready to go, but I don't think we'll have any nights below 5 degrees in here anymore. So again, I've got a couple of things. Got my Dendroceras littoralis, and I've got a dead one there. That's what they look like when they die, totally rotten inside, but I managed to get 2 through winter, looking well. I think I'll put one of them in the ground and one in a pot and compare the difference. And I have got some seedlings of Dendroceras littoralis. I did a video recently on sowing these. I love these plants. They germinate really easily in sphagnum moss, but they're just super hard to get through a number of winters. So yeah, a lot of this stuff is going outside. Of course, I've got my Yucca rostrata, which is going to go in the arid bed. I've got my big Opuntia ficus indica, which is not totally hardy. I think it's probably hardy to maybe above freezing, so I will have that out in the bed, but I won't be having it out over winter. Aeonium. I'm not a huge Aeonium guy, but I've got one there. Again, I got that one from Yorkshire Chris. A couple of jade trees in the back there. Crassula. The Golomean one, I think it's called. Crassula ovata, maybe. That's a giant colocasia. My agaves down here. This agave Americana will be put in the arid bed. These other ones are variegated ones, and the agave funkiana will just stay in their bowls. A couple of seed grown tetrapanax that I'll dot around the garden. What I would love to do is make my fortune by having these pup and selling the pups on eBay. I could definitely retire on that. I've got a little bit of colocasia pink china, a few little seedlings down there. Sonchus parmensis. I've got Sonchus canariensis coming as well. My first time growing Sonchus. If anyone's got any tips, please leave them in the comments, because I don't know anything about growing Sonchus. I do know that I'll have to find extra room in the greenhouse for them. I've got a lot of agave Americana pups up there, and then my cacti and succulent collection, which is a mixture of things that stay in the greenhouse, like the Lophophora williamsi and the Ariocarpus retusus, and my Copiopoas. I've got a few Copiopoas here. Euphorbia obesa. But then, of course, there are a few things that are going to be planted out in the arid bed. The Opuntia humifusa is, for me, the hardiest Opuntia that you can get. I see a lot of people posting pictures and videos of their decimated arid beds where everything has turned to rot, and this is the one thing that survives. The Aloe striatula here is going in the arid bed, and well, eventually these two agaves, Avatifolia and Montana, clearly not big enough yet, but they will be going in the arid bed eventually. Everything else is just for fun, staying in here. So that's the greenhouse. If anyone's got any tips of how to make better use of the space, I would love to hear it, because I am pretty good with space, but I don't know, maybe another shelf along here. I don't know where to put these, but I'm just trying to work out ways of maximising a 4 foot by 6 foot greenhouse. Yeah, I do have this greenhouse for seedlings as well. I've got amaranthus growing, a few giant tomatoes, sunflowers, a few other things growing in there, but just a bit of extra space. So that's my small exotic garden in the UK in April. Still a work in progress, still lots to do. If you've enjoyed this, you might want to watch the previous videos of the garden to see how it's progressing. I will continue to do these every month, and do consider giving this video a like and subscribing. Thank you. See you next time.